Hi, fanatics. How anyone keeping? So I said I will do a tabletop video on the topic of decanting. On a good number of occasions, customers would call and ask exactly what are decants, whether those are selling bottles in oil. And I said no, it's basically a decant is offering same original scent that comes in a big bottle in a smaller bottle. Right? And obviously, we have smaller bottles 15 ml, 10 ml, the 30 mls, 3 mls. But we're not getting into bottle size on this. We're actually going to do a little preview on how decanting works. And there's been a lot of existing tools that help with decanting since it's become popular. Now, the industry kind of evolved over some time on how we do decanting. I would say originally it started with these pipettes. So when you had bottles that were splash base, and a good example are using a bottle that was splash base. So this is a bottle from the CK1 line, and the CK1 bottle is one of the first bottles that had a splash and sprayer. So it either came with a cover to use as splash, or you could change the cover. Obviously, once you have something like access to something like this, one could easily just take a pipette and extract the liquid. So you see, and basically you could use this to do your decanting into smaller bottles. So you had this available to you, and then we also had these funnels that one could simply, especially if you're using like smaller 5 ml or 3 mls, you could just attach this on top and basically you could use this sprayer and spray into this and it will capture at the bottom here. This is only good for smaller applications, 1 ml, 2 ml, 3 mls. What you don't want to do with any type of decanting is have too much air mixing with the liquid. So this is not good for, I would say, 10 mls, 15 mls, 30 mls. Plus, you'll be doing a number of sprays as the can bottle sizes get larger. And then people realize that you could use syringes. All right, so this is a 10 ml syringe. This is a 5 ml syringe. Right? Now, to help with the technology, what has evolved over a period of time is these type of tips. This is the most recent one I've been using. I get a close up. So this is a plastic. This side here, which is the side that attaches onto, and I'll show you the different tips you will get on the perfume atomizers. And then this part here is the part that attaches onto the syringe. And then there's also, and this is the one I used to use previously. And if you notice in this one, this has a rubber in it that also acts as a valve to create pressure. Right? This is also a good efficient one also. This doesn't work with all type of tips, and we'll go through the different type of tips commonly you get on atomizers in the industry. And I also forgot one, all right? So there's also this, which I would also say is good for smaller applications. So get a review a tip here. And this is one of the tip designs that you would get on atomizers. And basically, you could have just put this on top here and press and use this to spray. This will go down here into your decanting bottle. This is something that only works efficiently well with smaller applications, 1 ml, 2 ml, 3 ml, because it doesn't give a tight and it gives some wastage also. So I want to start with some reviews of the tips and what works well. So if you see this atomizer, it has a tip. The tip kind of spikes into a smaller tip. So if you look here, I use the pipette to kind of illustrate a little better. So if you realize, see, it has a smaller tip at the end. So you have this design. I keep in these to show you all the different type of designs. You also have, let me use this. So you have the straight tip. So this has a, but it's not as pointed, right? If you look closely, you would not see the point as um, narrow as the other one. Same thing here. This one is a little shorter, but it doesn't have a narrowing of the tip. So this is kind of standard. You have also, and you get these a lot in the Perielis and some of the other um, Calvin Klein sprayers. So this is the most difficult tip to manage. It's a much wider tip with a spring at the end. Let's see if I get it to focus. All right, so this is this is a problematic tip, and this tip does not work well with this application that you can attach to the syringe. Really problematic. Right? So it works good with the smaller tips, the sharper end tips. It does not work good with those wrong tips. However, because I've said recently I found this wider tip, this wider tip actually works pretty well. If you look at it here, you would see how easily it covers compared to, where did I put that other tip? Compared to this, you can see one time you have problems. It, it, it doesn't fit. All right. And then there's another tip you see in the industry also on the atomizer. And this one doesn't have that sharp. So this one works on a different mechanism where it has the sprayer goes into the atomizer and not on top. Right, so you get it. This is a leak bottle. Some of the leaks use this tip. I know the club, the Newt, uses this tip. Right, and this is one of the original club, the Newt batches with the silver sprayer. So similar type of tip. Now these don't work efficiently on this. If you watch, you can see these have a lot of wastage and it doesn't get the suction you need. So these tips need more suction to draw fluid out of the bottles. However, it works very well with these tips with the plastic seal, right? Plastic seal gives it that additional kind of vacuum effect when you're using the syringe. And so that's just an example of how it's done. And just to kind of do a illustration, because I actually have one to do. So if you watch this tip, it's one that has one of the sharper ends. And what I'm going to actually do is do the illustration with the suction tip. So if you all can see, you snap that on, you press down, and you should be able to pull. And what you get is a seamless transfer of perfume from the original bottle straight into the decant bottle. And I'm doing at 10 ml, so you could actually measure it here. And I am going to transfer this into E10 ml. So I'm going to remove the tip, and then this will go into this 10 ml bottle, and voila. And basically, that's how easy decanting is, right? So now you don't have to rely on any perfume oil made to smell like the original. You could actually experience what the original scent smells like in a much smaller quantity. So if you look, it's really quite a simple process. A lot of the tools that you need widely available on Amazon to purchase. Some sets come with everything. Either if you want the bottles, and then you have the sets that come with syringe and all these other applications that you could use to do your decanting. So I hope that was useful to anybody who wanted a better understanding of decanting and how it's done. Bye bye.